Are you a leader, manager, entrepreneur, business owner, or knowledge worker? Are you leading people or wondering how to be a better leader in your own life and work? If you are, then you can be experimenting better. Welcome to The Experimental Leader, a podcast that takes a look at the ways leaders are experimenting in their own work. Hosted by Melanie Parish, we dive into real-life conversations about how people might be using a scientist's mindset and experimenting in their work. Shift your leadership into something that works better. Join us on The Experimental Leader today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Experimental Leader podcast. I'm Melanie Parish, and it's nice to be with you here live today. I'm super excited to be here with you, and our guest was ill today. So I'm here alone, and I thought I might share sort of my own thoughts about how I think, what I'm thinking about right now. It's a little lonely when my guest doesn't show up. And so here I am, and I'm thinking about the loneliness of leadership, which I know is a topic that really resonates with people. I know that it really resonates because I've written articles about it. And I know that all of you who lead teams, who lead organizations, who are leading your own life have times that don't go so well. And you find yourself in a position of leadership when things are challenging. I'm going to pause for a second and just collect myself. Being a woman leader means that life happens around me as I try to do my own business, my own work. And it's often that I have to create a space for that work. I have to keep my elbows out as I'm doing that work, as I'm trying to have vision for my company and for my children, my family. And sometimes I feel like there's actually people playing defense around me as I do it. When I just said I have to take a pause, it was because in my house where I just announced I was doing a podcast, someone let the dog out who was scratching at the door for several minutes during the start of my podcast. And that adds to the loneliness of leadership. I found out last night that my great aunt died at 98. And my aunt was telling me stories about how she would take her children. They owned movie theaters, and they owned a drive-in movie theater and a movie theater in town, and they worked many nights. And they would put their kids in the car and put them to bed in car until the concession stand would close, and then she would drive them home and put them into bed. And I thought about the level of commitment of that, the incredible commitment to her business, to her career that took, to have little children sleeping in a car at a drive-in theater, which probably, they thought was kind of cool. But the impact on her as someone doing family and work at the same time. And it adds to that feeling of the loneliness of leadership. I had another friend die in January, and the silence of the end of that relationship, the silence that death leaves, has left me contemplating both my own and the existence of the people I love and the meaning of life in a way that makes it hard to be a coach. Much of coaching is about helping people strive and being present as they strive, and helping them hold a vision for things they want to have happen. And the finality of death makes that a challenge and adds to the loneliness of leadership. I know I'll right myself. I've been here before. But all of these things are part of what makes me human as a leader while I do my work. And I thought it might be important to talk about that. It's not all shiny. It's not all exciting. It's not all vision. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's grappling with the inner landscape. Sometimes it's being with the loneliness as you do the tasks that are the leadership tasks. So I wanted to talk to you about all of this today. And I wanted to ask you some questions. What makes leadership lonely? When do you feel leadership is at its loneliest for you? And then the next question is there anything that you can do to connect with others during those times? Is there anything you can do to invite others to create community so that you aren't alone? Is there a way that you can have resources, have relationships, have professional relationships, coaching, therapy, religious affiliations that keep the loneliness at bay? And then finally, what can you do for self-care to keep yourself strong and powerful so that you can grapple with this reality? It just is true. We know that loneliness in leadership is a thing. How do you make it okay for yourself? How do you give yourself the foundations, the strength? I do things like I swim 2 or 3 times a week. I get massage, I get chiropractic. I try to do the deepest self-care I can think of so that I can be present for my clients, be present for myself, be present for my family. Last night, I made popcorn. I really wanted it to be movie popcorn, but it was just popcorn to eat in memory of my great aunt, Sarah, who died. And today I really honor her journey and her life where she lived fully, worked fully, was a businesswoman, and a loving family member for her whole life. And today I challenge you to figure out the best ways to grapple with the loneliness of your own leadership and to create the fullest life that you can for yourself. Go experiment.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Experimental Leader. We hope you have found value in today's episode because we're dedicated to helping you become the experimental leader you want to be. To access the show notes or learn more about working with Melanie, visit melanieparish.com. Go experiment.